Alright guys, so we're starting the tour to Cerro Chato, and this is the Green Lagoon resort. We just have to find a way up from here. You have to pay $12 per person to start here, to park your car. So you just have to pay everywhere in Costa Rica for hikes. That's just how it is, because everything is private property surrounded by the barbed wires, and that's something that you don't see so often especially in Eastern Europe, but here it's like a common thing. So hopefully we're gonna make it till the top. So for the first kilometer, just going between these two properties, and over here gets a little bit steeper, but overall it's not too bad. So guys, we're walking for about half an hour now. You see the road is still going for cars, and I guess this is the parking where they come with the tours, and they start over here. $12, actually paid 14 I think dollars per person. They could at least allowed us to park all the way up here. Such a corruption here in Costa Rica. Ridiculous. So we're getting higher and higher. You still have a field over here on the right side with the barbed wire fence. So I'm not sure how the government is not doing anything about this. It's completely deforested. The soil erosion is gonna be insane in a few years here. So I don't understand why they're allowing them to have like this. Like, people can have properties, but there should have plant trees here. Instead they're just catching hikers who do nothing here. It's ridiculous. So you can see this path is pretty muddy, but luckily it was not raining hard in the last few days, so it's not too slippery. But I can imagine during the rain season this just turns into a river, because there are no trees on the side to support this. After about 45 minutes we got to this table here. It says Green Lagoon hike tour ends here. So I guess this is what they're charging for, $14, just so you can go through the fields. Man. Alright, so we just entered the jungle over here, literally a few seconds from behind there. And right away you have this fucking sign. It says do not enter. This is the biggest bullshit I ever seen in my life. Like, how the fuck are hikers gonna destroy the nature here? It's just mind-boggling. I don't think it's the country I want to live in, because I think this is not the only place where it's this. So pretty much in Costa Rica you only have a little parts where you can hike, and you have to pay for them $10 plus. And if you want to see something like Cerro Chato without being stressed, you have to go with a guide or some shit, which we don't also like, as we had bad experience with the guides, and it's not the same experience going with a guide everywhere. So I think Costa Rica is not a place to live for us. See the jungle, the path is really more treacherous and muddy, because it's less sunshine to dry out. But we see we're halfway lengthwise, but we still have more elevation, so it's gonna get much steeper here. So here we have a lot of times places like this where you have to climb over this route. Alright, so from this point we have 100 to 170 meters elevation, which should take about 1 hour, but we're reading in reviews that the last part is really treacherous to get down, so we're gonna see how it is.
So this jungle doesn't have many big trees. I don't know if the reason is because it's a new growth jungle after the volcano explosion, or because there was a lot of deforestation here.
You see guys, some parts are completely washed out because of lack of trees. But the trail is getting really like steep and muddy. So I guess here it rains much more than down there. So hopefully we're gonna make it. See guys, over here is a complete tunnel. Alright, so it seems like we got up from over here on the left, and there's another path going straight, over here. I think over here you get down to the lagoon, right?
Over here should be a viewpoint of the arena volcano, but the top, as always, is in the clouds. Alright, and now we have a steep 100 meters descent down to the lagoon that you can see down through the trees. We're reading online that this part is so steep and washed off that you almost have to climb down. Alright, so after about 20 minutes of very technical descent, if you don't have climbing skills, don't even attempt to go down here. We reached the Laguna El Chato, which looked pretty amazing, and there was also another group of people here. While my body was still hot from hiking, I decided to go for a swim. I didn't know if I'm gonna make it to the other side, and Sanya was also afraid that something could happen, but the farther I went, the more confident I felt that I could make it. It was only about 200 meters to the other side, and the water didn't feel so cold anymore. Once I got to the other side, it was completely wild there. There was no way to get out because it was so overgrown there. Alright, so after I had a nice swim at the lagoon and after we had some lunch, decided to follow a trail on Maps.me that goes around the lagoon and comes out somewhere there on the other side of the lagoon. And from there should be another steep path going up the hill until the ridgeline of the crater, and then we should follow the ridgeline until we connect back to the path that we were going earlier. So this path was not as muddy and washed off, but on the other hand it was very overgrown, indicating that there are not many people going through here.
So here we got out. The path is pretty bushy and treacherous at times, but then you get this nice view of the whole lagoon. And now we're just gonna fly drone around here.
Here I got a very cool shot with the drone. As I'm flying over the ridgeline, the big arena volcano appears. It is believed that Cerro Chato first erupted 38,000 years ago during the Pleistocene period and last erupted about 3,500 years ago. One of the lava flows is now the route for the La Fortuna waterfall. The hill has two peaks named Chatito, Little Chato and Espina, Torn. A crater is about 500 meters wide and is filled with green water, making the Laguna Cerro Chato. Alright, and here we're starting the ascent back to the ridgeline. Path is definitely much better than descending the other side. It's not as muddy, steep and treacherous, just a little bit overgrown. Right after about 10-15 minutes we got up to the ridgeline where the path was still pretty overgrown, but it was easy to get through because it was mostly flat. Soon we got to the viewpoint where you can see the lagoon again. In just few minutes we got to the second viewpoint where I decided to fly a drone again. So this lagoon and the surrounding area is a really good place for flying a drone. You can get some really cool shots here. However, when I'm looking around and down in the valley, I can see that even here in this remote area, there is still a lot of deforestation because of animal agriculture.
Now we're walking mostly straight on the ridgeline of the crater. So here on the left side, down there is the lagoon, and here on the right side is just another side, more hills and stuff. It's pretty epic. It's not muddy, it's a lot of leaves on the trail. It's good. Right, so we just connected from here, this jungle trail, and now we're gonna descend the same way we got up. And this is the other trail here, going to the lagoon, but it's much more treacherous.
So because these forests are not very old, they don't have a big canopy, so the rain just goes through here and the soil just gets washed off like this and the trail becomes really technical. So this hike is not so much about how much endurance you have, but how much technical skills you have, especially climbing and scrambling skills. During the whole day we haven't seen many animals apart from these leafcutter ants and a few birds. I think especially the bigger mammals like monkeys, they like to stay in a lower altitudes where it's warmer. Alright guys, hope you enjoy watching another amazing adventure from La Fortuna, Costa Rica.
Tomorrow we are already traveling to Montevideo Mountains, but on the way we want to visit the Arena Volcano National Park, so stay tuned for that video. And as always, stay healthy and stay adventurous!